I never used to get scared driving at night. It was part of the job picking people up in bad parts of town, dropping them off where the streetlights don't reach. After a while, you grow numb to it. But that changed last October. It was a Friday, just past midnight. I just dropped a drunk couple off at a motel near the edge of town when my phone pinged with another request. Pickup location, Edison Mall. I groaned. That place had been half dead for years, most of it shuttered except for a dusty liquor store and an old bowling alley that hadn't been open in forever. Still, I accepted the ride. Not like I had anything better to do. When I got there, the lot was empty. The kind of quiet that makes your ears ring. One flickering light buzzed overhead, casting a dirty orange glow. That's where I saw him. A man stood alone under the light. Tall, still. Gray hoodie pulled low over his face, hands in his pockets. He didn't move when I pulled up. I leaned over and rolled down the window. "You, Jonah?" No answer. Then, slowly, he nodded. He walked over and slid into the back seat directly behind me. The air changed the moment the door shut like pressure had dropped, like the space got smaller. I checked the app. "You going to Ridgeview Drive?" "Yeah," he said, voice flat. "Just drive." No emotion, no eye contact. I started the trip. He didn't speak for the first few minutes. I glanced in the mirror. He was staring at the back of my head. Not blinking, not looking out the window, just watching me. To break the silence, I said, "Busy night?" He didn't answer right away. Then, I had to leave. "Leave where?" A pause. Then, "Doesn't matter now." The further we drove, the darker it got. Streetlights grew sparse, houses more spread out. We passed through a stretch of road lined with woods on both sides. My headlights barely touched the trees, but I thought I saw movement just a flicker too fast to name. I tried to ignore it. After 15 minutes, he suddenly leaned forward. "Turn there!" He pointed to a narrow gravel path I almost missed. I froze. The sound low, solid, finale code through the trees. It didn't belong in a quiet night like this. It sounded like a body hitting the floor, or a door slamming shut deep inside a dead house. I leaned forward, trying to peer around the edge of the building, but the brush was too thick. My headlights didn't reach that far. The gravel path behind me seemed darker now, smaller. I waited. 1 minute, 2. Still no sign of him. I unlocked my phone, thinking I'd just cancel the ride, mark it as complete, and get the hell out. But something made me stop. The screen looked wrong. His profile gone. Just a blank space where the name used to be. I stared at it, heart thudding. Then movement fast, sudden in the mirror. He was walking back. No, not walking, charging, like something chased him. His hood had fallen back. His face was pale, hollow. Sweat on his brow despite the cold. His hands were clenched into fists. I almost hit the gas. But he yanked the back door open before I could react and dropped into the seat. His voice was sharp now, urgent. "Take me to the river." I turned halfway, still gripping the wheel. "What river? You didn't put anything in the app." "Just go," he snapped. "Follow the road north." I hesitated. My stomach twisted. Everything in me screamed, "Don't." But I didn't want a confrontation. I started driving. The silence was heavier now. He leaned forward, close enough that I could feel his breath on my neck. It smelled like soil, wet, rotting earth. My eyes stung. "You don't know." The next day, I tried to pretend it didn't happen. I cleaned the car, twice, checked the app history. The ride was Ganeno name, no trip, no charge. Like it never happened. But I knew better. That night, I parked early, told myself I wouldn't work, just needed rest. I lay on the couch with the TV on low, the dog curled up at my feet. By 2 a.m., I was drifting off when I heard it. A knock. 3 slow taps on the window facing my driveway. I froze. The curtains were closed. I hadn't heard a car. The dog stood up, ears sharp, low growl rumbling in his chest. I stood slowly, careful not to make a sound. Moved toward the window. Pulled the curtain back just a couple inches. Nothing. No one there. Just the driveway, bathed in pale yellow from the streetlight. But the porch light flickered. Once, twice, then died. The dog backed away, whining now. I grabbed my phone. No signal. The screen just blinked, searching. That's when I heard it, the radio. From my car. But I hadn't driven it since last night. I never leave the stereo on. The static buzzed through the cold air like a mosquito in the dark. Faint. And then louder. I opened the front door. Cold air slapped my face. My breath fogged instantly. The car sat at the curb, empty. Still. But the dome light inside flicked on. Then off. Then on again. Like someone was inside, opening the door slowly. Then closing it. I stepped forward. And then I saw it. A face. Pressed to the inside of the rear passenger window. Pale, sunken, black eyes, wide, like they'd never blinked, just watching. I stumbled backward, slammed the door, locked it, grabbed my keys and rushed to the bedroom. The dog barked on sharp, desperate, and then whimpered. I didn't sleep. At dawn, I checked the car. Empty, no radio, no light, no sign of the face, except the stone was back, lying on the back seat in the exact same place. But this time, it had something carved into it. One word, stay. I held it in my hand, skin prickling. The surface was still damp. I threw it in the creek behind the complex, deep into the water, and didn't look back. But that night, when I walked outside, there were wet footprints on the sidewalk. Small, bare, leading from the edge of the trees to my front door. I stopped driving, deleted the app, took the car in for detailing, told myself I'd find something else. Anything else? But it didn't stop. 3 nights after I found the footprints, I woke to a sound that didn't belong. Not knocking, not footsteps, breathing. It was soft at first, just on the edge of hearing. I thought it was the dog, but when I turned over, I saw him curled up at the foot of the bed, ears twitching, staring at the closed bedroom door. The breathing was louder now, wet, gasping, coming from the hallway. I sat up, heart pounding. The room was freezing. The dog didn't move, just stared, body tense, low growl in his throat. I grabbed my phone and turned on the flashlight. Opened the bedroom door. Nothing. Silence. But the front door was open. Just a crack. Enough for the fog to drift in across the floor, and at the center of the hallway rug, a stone, same size, same smooth weight. A new word carved into it. Drive. I didn't sleep after that. Didn't speak to anyone. Just stayed locked in, blinds shut, lights on. I kept the stone in a drawer, afraid to touch it again. But the dream started anyway. Every night, the same place. The abandoned house. The porch sagging, the door yawning wide, and her. She never moved. She stood at the top of the stairs, face hidden in shadow, arms too long for her frame, fingers twitching like they remembered pain. Her voice came not through her mouth, but from the walls, from the floorboards, from behind my own eyes. You picked him up. You brought him back. Now you drive for me. I started waking with bruises. On my arms, across my ribs. Once, a perfect thumbprint on my neck. I checked every lock twice, covered every mirror. But some nights I'd hear the chime from the app, the exact same sound, even though it was deleted, even though the phone was off. And always, the message appeared the same way, carved into condensation on the window, or scratched faintly into the glass. One more ride. I haven't left the house in a week, but tonight, just before midnight, my porch light flickered again. A car pulled up to the curb. Not mine. Something older. Black. Windows tinted too dark to see inside. The engine idled. Then the back door opened. But no one got out. They're waiting. I sat there, engine idling, staring at the spot where he'd vanished. The fog swallowed him whole, like he'd never been there. Just gone. No movement, no sound. I leaned over the passenger seat, trying to see further into the mist, but it was like driving into a dream you couldn't wake up from. The headlights barely pushed through it now. I couldn't even see the fence anymore. Just soft, rolling gray. My hand hovered over the gear shift. Leave. Just go. But then a shape moved across the beams. Not walking, not running, sliding. It passed too fast to make out a blur. Tall and thin, arms too long, head tilted too far to one side. The fog closed around it again. My stomach dropped. I slammed the car into reverse and backed out onto the dirt road, tires spinning against loose gravel. The moment I turned around and hit the gas, the radio crackled to life. It wasn't playing music. It hissed static at first, then a voice. A whisper so faint I could barely make it out. "Don't leave him!" I reached for the dial, turned it off. The static stayed. I ripped the cord from the dashboard. Still, it hissed. I punched the screen. It flickered, went darkened, then flickered back on, showing nothing but the rideshare app, frozen on a completed trip. No route, no rating, no name, just the time. 12:47 a.m. The exact minute I'd picked him up. My hands trembled. I kept driving. I didn't stop until I reached a gas station back near the main road, one of those 24-hour places with 2 bright lights and 2 quiet aisles. I parked under a security lamp and sat still for a long minute, trying to convince myself none of it was real. Then I saw something in the rearview mirror. A smudge on the backseat window. I turned, slowly. Handprints. Both sides, pressed hard into the glass. Like someone had clawed to get out. I hadn't noticed them before. I climbed out, heart racing, and walked around the car. The prints were clearer now. Long fingers. Too long. The shape of the palms wrong. Not human. I wiped them away. Told myself it was nothing. Maybe condensation. Maybe dirt. That's all. But as I opened the driver's door to get back in, I noticed something lying on the floor of the back seat. A river stone. Smooth. Wet. Cold. I hadn't seen it before. I didn't know where it came from. But as I picked it up, something moved in the mirror again fast. Something behind me. I turned. Nothing. Just the hum of the gas station lights, the empty parking lot, and the fog. Still rolling in, even here. I threw the stone into the trash, locked every door, and drove home in silence. I didn't take another ride that night. I didn't sleep, either. I didn't move for a long time. Just stared out the window at the black car idling at the curb, engine rumbling low, steady. The kind of sound that feels more like a vibration in your chest than a noise. The back door was open, slightly, like it had been waiting for me. I don't remember getting dressed. Don't remember locking the door behind me. Just the cold air on my skin as I stepped outside, barefoot on the damp concrete. The car was older than it looked at. First mid-90s maybe? Matte black paint, dull with dust, the chrome trim oxidized and pitted. The windows reflected nothing. Not the porch light. Not the stars. Not me. I approached the back door. Inside, darkness. The seat was empty, but I felt it. A presence. The same cold I'd felt that night near the house. The same silence, thick like wet wool around my ears. I stood there, one hand on the open door, and then I heard her. Not with my ears, with my mind. A whisper behind the skull. A voice like wind through rotted wood. "You drive now." My hand moved on its own. I climbed in. The door shut by itself. No driver in the front, just the wheel, waiting. And the phone on the dashboard, my phone, powered off for days. But now it glowed. A new ping, new ride. Pickup location, Edison Mall. Destination, unknown. I reached for the gear shift. My hand trembled, but I couldn't stop it. The car rolled forward. No headlights. The streets passed in blur and shadow. I didn't steer. Didn't need to. It knew the way. The mall appeared ahead, just like before, the empty lot, flickering light, cracked pavement. But this time, there was more than one figure waiting beneath the lamp. 3 shapes. One tall, the hoodie. One smaller, head tilted. And one taller than both, limbs too long, reaching down to the ground, body shifting like smoke beneath a veil of fog. As I pulled up, They didn't move, just stared. The back door opened again, wider. I didn't turn around, didn't look in the mirror, but I heard them get in. All three. No weight on the seats, no breath on the windows. But I knew they were inside. I drove. The phone blinked. No map, just a black screen and a message. Bring them home. I don't remember turning onto the highway. The road just appeared beneath the tires, endless and smooth. No lights, no signs, no traffic. Like it was built only for us. The dashboard showed 0 miles. No compass. The radio crackled quietly. Low-frequency murmurs just below hearing. My knuckles were white around the wheel. I could feel them behind me. Not breathing, not shifting, just present. The one with the long limbs, the one that wasn't ever truly human, I could sense her most. Her presence curled around the corners of the car like smoke slipping through cracks. I didn't dare look in the mirror. Every time I blinked, the sky outside looked different. 1 second, cloudy, then starless, then bright red like dusk, then black again. Time didn't work here, none of it did. The phone buzzed again, same message. Bring them home. But where was that? Where had I taken them from? Where were we going? The smaller one in the middle seat spoke then. Voice like a child. But the tone was all wrong. Too flat. Too calm. You're not the first. I swallowed hard, kept my eyes on the road. What? She didn't answer. The tall man with the hoodie, Jonah, or whatever he used to be, shifted forward. You picked me up. You opened the door. His voice was different now. Older, cracked like dry wood. It echoed slightly, like it wasn't just in the car, but bouncing through a long hallway behind my ears. You let her back in. I gritted my teeth. Total darkness. I couldn't see the wheel. Couldn't see my hands. Couldn't even see the glow of the phone anymore. But the car kept moving. Tires crunching over gravel or bones, I couldn't tell anymore. And then I heard her. A voice nod. From behind me, not beside me, but from everywhere. Soft, wet, hollow. You brought them back. My breath caught in my throat. The air was thicker now. Harder to pull into my lungs. Each breath felt like I was drowning in something unseen. Then the headlights flickered once and came back on. We were underground. I don't know how else to describe it. The road was carved into stone. The ceiling above dripped with moisture. Walls on either side were too close now, covered in carvings faces. Hundreds of them, twisted in silent screams. Some moved when I looked too long. Or maybe that was just the shadows. I tried to stop the car, slam the brakes. They didn't work. None of it did. The dashboard blinked again. Final stop. A cold hand touched my shoulder. I flinched, but didn't turn. The child's voice whispered, close to my ear now. She waits in the water. You opened the door. Ahead, the tunnel widened. And there it was. A black lake, perfectly still, stretching out into the impossible. Mist hovered above its surface. On the shore, stones were stacked in little tower hundreds of theme each, one with a word carved deep into its surface. Stay, wait, sink, forgive. And one stone, larger than the rest, sat alone at the edge. Drive. The car rolled to a stop by itself. The doors unlocked. All of them. I didn't move. Then, slowly, I heard the sound of feet stepping out behind me. One set, then another, then the third. I still didn't turn, didn't want to see what they'd become. Their footsteps crunched on stone, then disappeared into silence. I waited, and then I saw her. Rising from the water, her limbs were too long. Her hair floated as if underwater, though the air around her was still. No face. Just a smooth, pale mask of skin. She stepped forward without a sound. Water running off her in black streams. She stopped at the edge, tilted her head. Her voice pressed inside my skull like a blade. There is one seat left. I shook my head. No, I'm done. I brought them. You drove. I grabbed the wheel, tried to reverse. The tires didn't move. The engine stalled. The radio crackled once more, and through it came my own voice, warped and distant. You picked the wrong one up tonight. My voice on the radio kept playing. "You picked the wrong one up tonight." Over and over. Slower each time, like the recording itself was drowning. The car doors stayed open. The stone, with the word drive, began to glow faintly, pale blue like deep ice. And the woman from the water, she moved closer. Her arms hung too long, almost to her knees. Her fingers dragged across the stones, leaving black trails where she touched. She stopped just inches from the car, and then she knelt, as if bowing, or waiting. The message was clear. "You brought them. Now join them." I whispered, "No." The dome light flickered. Something crawled across the roof above Meslow, dragging limbs, nails, scratching paint. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. Then the back seat creaked. I looked in the mirror. Someone sat behind me now. Not Jonah, not the child, something else. Its face was smooth and gray. No eyes, no mouth, just the impression of a face, like clay pressed once by a human hand and left to rot. It wore my jacket, my hat, my hands. It was me, a warped reflection. I turned around slowly, heart hammering. It tilted its head and smiled. No mouth, but I felt the grin crawl across its skin. It leaned forward, breath cold and wet, and whispered, "Your shift never ends." I screamed, but no sound came. The thing behind me slid into the front seat, took the wheel, the doors slammed shut. The engine started again. I was still in the driver's seat, but no longer in control. My hands moved with the wheel. My foot pressed the gas, but I wasn't the one driving. We pulled away from the lake, down a new tunnel I hadn't seen before. The other three were gone. The phone lit up. New ride request. Pickup. Unknown drop-off. You. The destination was me. I looked out the window and saw my apartment building. My street, my driveway. We were almost back, but I wasn't driving, and something else was in my place. The car coasted to a stop outside my building. My building, but not quite. Everything looked off. The windows too dark, the trees too still. The shadows didn't match the light. My own reflection in the window didn't blink when I did. The engine clicked off. The dashboard lights dimmed. I tried the door handle, locked. The thing in the driver's seat me, but not turned its head slowly. Its eyes were pits now, deep and filled with water that rippled though nothing moved. "You're home," it said. I shook my head. "This isn't real." It smiled, that same twitch under featureless skin. "Neither are you anymore." The phone buzzed again. A final screen. Trip complete. I was no longer listed as the driver, or the rider. Just a single word. Vessel. The lights outside the car flickered, then died. Complete darkness. Silence. Thick and endless. Until the knock came. 3 sharp raps on the passenger window. I turned slowly. Outside stood another man. Tired eyes. Hoodie. Familiar. He looked just like I had weeks ago. He raised his phone. The app glowed. My name on the screen. Driver, you. He opened the door and stepped in. Sat behind me. The figure in the driver's seat vanished, and I took the wheel. Hands moving on their own, face blank in the mirror. My mouth moved without thought. "Where to?" The man in the back shrugged. "Anywhere." I nodded and drove. The fog swallowed the road behind us. The city disappeared. The world fell away. Only one thing remained. The ride. And her voice, whispering from the vents, soft and cold. "There's always another passenger."